Hello and welcome to the Nintendo Switch Online Game Club, the show where we play through the games available on Nintendo's various NSO apps completely at random. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and in this episode, I'm joined by Moriarty, YouTuber, streamer, and co-host of the Crubcast podcast. How you doing, Moriarty?
Every day's a holiday. Happy to be here.
Glad to have you here. And we have the returning FTA back again after enjoying the spring breeze that was Kirby's Dream Land 2. How you doing, Gareth?
Can't complain. Doing pretty good.
Good to hear. And as you're both likely aware, there are now over 200 games across the NSO, and while some are widely known like Super Mario Bros. And Zelda, there are some odd picks that could be considered hidden gems. We honestly don't know. So what we'll be doing is entering all those games into a randomizer, picking one, and then giving our initial thoughts. But this month there's a twist, as it's Patreon request month, and I've entered a special shortlist filled with their picks. But this is the final week of this special month, and the Wheel of Games has decided to end it all off with Mario's Super Picross for the Super Nintendo, as requested by Azran127. They're the ones who it was picked, but it was also requested by Sylph Limited. So two people actually chose this game. And this is how we're closing out the month. What is your familiarity with Mario Super Picross? Moriarty, let's start with you.
Boy, I know what it is in a very technical way. I have never played it, and I've never really wanted to either. This is one of those games that you look at and you're like, wow, I can't tell how you have fun playing this. You know what I mean? You look at it and you're just like, what is the actual gameplay? So I'm somewhat excited to see why people wanted a sequel to the original in the first place.
Right. And what about you, Gareth? What's your familiarity with Mario Super Picross, or just Picross in general?
Well, first I just want to state that I think it's very nice that two of your fans hate you, so they've made this terrible game. But it's like I'm when I hear that, I've heard the name of it. I've heard of this game before, and I'm pretty sure in my mind's eye, I think I played the Game Boy. Was it on Game Boy originally? Is there a version of Mario's Picross on Game Boy?
There might have been. So I can tell you right now, Picross has been around for a long time, and it's still going on. It might have even seen a resurgence thanks to the 3DS and the Switch now. But I'll get into that later.
Unless I am mistaking this for a different puzzle game, and I will remind everyone if I was next week. I'm pretty sure I played like a Game Boy version of this, and after like 5 minutes I was like, that's good, I will never have to play that game again in my life. And here we are. I assume I like puzzle games, most of the games on my iPhone are just like quick little fun puzzle games to play when taking a poop, but I'm pretty expecting to come back next week and be like, yeah, this game's fun. And that's it. I'm expecting this to be a very short episode. I doubt there'll be that much to really talk about, to be honest with you.
So the funny thing is I always saw Picross hanging around and people talking about Picross. And then my partner, Amy, she was a big fan of Picross. She got into Picross thanks to, I believe it was Picross 3D on the 3DS, which it goes a little bit further than most Picross games because it is actually in 3D. So the basic idea of Picross is that you're trying to form a picture based on the numbers, and the numbers on the side will basically tell you, like, it'll be a line of 10, for example, just to start off simple, and you'll have 10 squares going down this line, but it'll say like 7, so you know that 7 of those lines are filled in. But you got to use your context clues of the other rows and lines in order to figure out which 7 there are. And typically there's like a time punishment if you get it wrong. So you'll get here's 30 minutes to do this puzzle. Oh, you got it wrong. You lose a minute, that sort of thing, because you picked the wrong one.
I think I've seen that in a mobile ad, right?
You might have.
There's the mobile ads where they're trying to do the same thing. I feel like I see that a lot, actually. I didn't realize that was Picross.
Yeah. It's also known as nonograms. I've looked at the Wikipedia and saw this in Smash Mouth, and our live audience also did the same. And it's just been around for a long time. And I best I can just best I could describe it is think of it kind of like a Sudoku. It's just one of those brain teasers you do. And sometimes some people got really into Sudoku. So if it hits you just right and you're playing this, and it could really, I don't know, be all about that.
When you were explaining it, my first thought was, this sounds like Sudoku for bigger nerds, which is great.
I guess that is one way to put it, yeah.
See, when you were explaining it, I thought, like Moriarty with the ads, I, for some reason, thought this was the game where there's the guy running down with a gun, and then there's two sides of like a +2 and a -2, and then you go in the thing, and it's like, I'm never going to find that game again. That game looks so much fun, and none of the games are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one, but I don't know if I'd even know that game.
Moriarty got the joke.
Okay, I did. I'm way over my head.
Basically, it's a joke with so many mobile games who have trailers that feature that footage, and like almost every community is the gameplay is nothing like the actual game. This is a scam trailer. Like so many, I'm always like, that game actually looks kind of fun. Someone please sell me that game. I'll even give you $2. That doesn't look too much. That looks kind of fun to play.
Off topic, but I think there was a game released on the Switch where it was basically, it's very, very simple graphics. Like, it doesn't have the same graphics as those games, but they basically take the idea of those games that are like false ads and actually make it a full game.
I did see a game like that on Steam recently.
Yeah, it might have been Steam, Switch, that sort of thing. Yeah.
If anyone knows that, at me on Twitter, the real FTA, and I'll play it, because those games look kind of fun.
It's a funny concept there, but yeah, that's the thing. There's only so much you can really say about Mario Super Picross, so it's very it's very much, it might end up as a short topic. Like, I could say more, because the funny thing is like, I heard about Picross for so long, and I have friends that, like, there are so many Picross games on Switch, like just straight up Picross for some. Like, I think there's 10 versions. Then you got themed Picross for others. It was mentioned earlier in the live audience, there's a idea that sort of takes like a game that sort of takes the idea of like Ace Attorney or a detective game where you're searching for clues, but when you find a clue, in order to unveil it, you have to solve a Picross puzzle, and it's called Murder by Numbers. So there is ways of like kind of taking this formula and doing more with it. But I can tell you right now, Mario Super Picross keeps it pretty by the numbers, if you forgive the pun.
Yes. Very good.
Wasn't there a show called like Numbers where a guy solved murders using mathematics?
Wow.
Might have
yes,
been.
There was.
I'm like, that sounds eerily. That concept sounds so stupid. It has to have been made at some point. That just sounds amazing.
You know what? I think it is coming back to me. It's yeah, something else.
There's definitely a show called Numbers, and I think it has to do with murder and mathematics. I hope it does. If it does, I'll watch the first episode, and after we spend 6 minutes talking about Picross, I'll just talk about that show for the next 3 minutes. We're gonna have to do something to pad this episode out. It's gonna be really short otherwise.
Yeah. The big warning I will give you guys, though, is that this was originally only released in Japan. The PAL regions got it thanks to a virtual console release on the Wii U. States never got it there. So Switch Online is the first time we've gotten Mario Super Picross. So all the text will be in Japanese, but it's literally just for menus, and you'll be able to... It's not that difficult to figure out.
So just to confirm, is it on like the US one, or do we have to go into the Japanese store to get it?
It's US one. I only have US
cool.
available games on here. It's kind of like there's a couple other Japanese only games, but they typically keep it text low for these sort of things, so you don't have to worry about that.
It's Final Fantasy 3 in Japanese. Have fun, boys.
Yeah, exactly. It's not quite like that. But yeah, there's a few things here, and there's enough context. I think you can just sort of get it. It's not that. I know. I don't remember having any kind of issue. I do have thoughts on this game, but again, I will save that for later because there's only so much to talk about.
Because
So
if you say those thoughts now, we'll have nothing to say next
exactly.
week. So
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm hoping that I come away with just a lot of things to say, but
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't know what you can say. I'm hoping there's just like, man, I
yeah.
figured it out. I've seen the Matrix, and I have stuff to talk about.
This game reshaped my life. I'm hoping it's either really addictive, or if I look into it, it's got a really fascinating story like Tetris does.
Yeah,
Like you could talk for an hour about just like the making of Tetris without even mentioning the game. So hopefully, Picross involves a bunch of incompetent contracts being written and countries not wanting to sell their stuff. Like, or if not, we'll just make one up. Poland invented it, and they were like, "Fuck you, America! You can't have our numbers game." And then we did because they put Mario on it. End of story.
Yeah. So I looked it up and there was, you're right, Moriarty, there was a Mario's Picross on the Game Boy that did release in the States for the Game Boy, but
That's what I think. I think I've played that version in because I've definitely played some Mario puzzle game with a bunch of numbers you have to click. So I've definitely played that at some point.
yeah, but it did
But
so
I remember nothing
poorly
about
that
it. So this is
yeah, it was like huge. It did really, really well in Japan, failed in America. So there's like, all right, sequels go to just Japan. The only other
It makes sense.
thing I could really say is that it was co-developed both by Jupiter and Ape. And Ape is interesting because they were last week I played Earthbound, also developed by Ape. So from the creators of Earthbound, there you go, the developers of Earthbound.
oh, there's gonna be like weird psychedelic shit at the end of this Picross game.
I hope so. That's great. That would be great if it was.
It's probably mainly done by Jupiter because I'm looking through the rest of what they've done, and literally every one of their releases for the 3DS and the Switch is Picross. That's it.
So they worked on they worked on
do.
Mario Picross, did nothing for 20 years, and then just came back to do more Picross games.
No, not entirely. They did other things. Like Jupiter has worked on other things. Weirdly enough, looking through this, they helped work on both Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories and The World Ends With You. They worked on Sonic Pinball Party. As well as Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire and the original Pokemon Pinball. So they're kind of just gamey games, I suppose.
Outside of Chain of Memories, which I still think is a terrible game to play, like they just sound like we know we can do puzzle games. If you want to slap a cartoon character on it, we're your man. Like this just pretty much seems what their MO is.
Kind of. You're not wrong from what I can tell, but yeah.
And that's a weird one, right? To do like all these because I'm looking at their games now too, and they do like weird pinball, but a lot of Picross. And then in the middle of all of and they have maybe 30 Picross games too, to be clear. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of it, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories.
Yep. I enjoyed that game. We got The World Ends With You, and then we got something I know has a little bit of a cult following with Spectrobes, if anybody remembers that game.
Yeah, they've got some interesting ones in here.
Do you think Square just hired them because they're like, this is a game that you need to use numbers to do shit? Give them to those guys. They do number shit. There you go. Like, because again, that is so weird. And I wonder, like, did Jupiter, were they the sole developer for Chain of Memories, or did they just like?
I think
they just like help Square with it.
I think they
had to have helped Square.
Yeah, they definitely got help from Square because it was definitely being told what to do. But I'm guessing they would basically just the main developers, and Square were just like, okay, here's all the art assets, here's how the gameplay is. You guys program it in. I'm guessing that's probably how it was just taken care of.
Is there a story for this one? Let's do the same shit the first game did. No one gives a fuck. No one's gonna play this game. The GPA, who cares?
I guess that's one way to put it, yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, not much else to say. I for now. We'll get your guys' full thoughts and see what you think of your first time playing Picross with all this. But unless there's anything else you guys want to say, we'll take a break and play Picross for a week.
I'm looking forward to it.
I just want to say, can someone subscribe to my Patreon so that I can subscribe to the GVG Patreon so I can watch the finished video? Because otherwise I ain't gonna know what's gonna happen after this.
I love it. All right. We'll see you guys in a week, or, well, for us a week, very soon for all of you. Till then, everyone.
スーパーピクロススーパーピクロス数字をヒントに絵を出すほいスーパーピクロススーパーピクロスなかなか手強い300問新しい問題が300問スーパーファミコンで登場意地悪ワリオの超難問も加わったピクチャークロスワードマリオのスーパーピクロス出るんだほい
And we're back after a week of playing Mario's Super Picross for the Super Nintendo. And I can only imagine what you both think. But Moriarty, let's start with you. How did you feel about Picross?
So I actually have quite a lot of thoughts about this. I spent some time with it. I was a bit disappointed when this game came up on the roulette wheel. Here I am invited to your first Patreon exclusive game club, and fate gives us a game. There's nothing to talk about. And we even made jokes that this would be your shortest episode to date. However, it turns out that I'm actually very pleased to have been introduced to Picross. I found this to be an incredibly zen experience, and I can sort of understand why it didn't release in the United States. It reminds me a lot of Sudoku, and people tend to forget that Sudoku didn't gain widespread acceptance in the United States until Brain Age on the DS made it popular, and then suddenly we have Sudoku everywhere, to the point that a lot of people don't really realize that Nintendo's little handheld daily brain exerciser is the reason that it gained popularity. And this is very much in that same vein, a game that is about patterns and logic more than anything else. And I would very closely relate this to Sudoku, and I enjoyed it just so very, very unfairly. I don't know how much we want to talk about the specifics until Garrett has at least a chance to say something.
Yeah,
I see him shaking his head there. I don't know.
I think you guys are going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum. In fact, I can almost guarantee that because I got several messages from Gareth throughout the week about his experience with this game. So, Gareth, what did you think about Picross?
You know what? I'm gonna put up the first thing I tweeted you. What did I say? Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this is what I tweeted to Derek after me playing the game for about 15 minutes. I will accept some of the issues what I'm about to say is on me, but my quote is, dude, I fucking hate this game. LMAO. It makes zero sense to me, and I just keep losing. That is pretty much sums up how. You know what's weird though, because playing it, so I'm not sure. Obviously, you said this. What the game wasn't localized for America. So, but it's weird because like it at least the version I played that's currently on the American NSO, it seems that everything except for the instructions are in English. So again, I'm not sure if in the original Japanese version it was like that, or if Nintendo did actually, put some localization into the game. You would think then they would localize the fucking instructions on how the game works, because for the first like time of me playing it, and I'll put my hands up, like I was like, okay, I'll play the game, it's a Mario game, the game's for babies, this will be easy. I don't know what the fuck, so I'm just pressing buttons and I keep losing, and I don't know what's going on. Oh, what the fuck, I get it. And then I thought, oh, you have to make shapes, so I was just purposely trying to make actual shapes, and I said, no, that doesn't fucking work either. And then after speaking with Derek, I looked up what the instructions are. I was like, oh, okay, like I get it. Like, so like, after a while I was succeeding in some of the earlier ones, but I still didn't get it. And I just want to say, like, if people watching this, because I didn't enjoy the game, but like I will admit the fact that it's partially because I'm an idiot and I'm not good at the game. And if you would like to tweet at me to call me an idiot, my handle is @ntom64. Please go nuts.
Yeah, I can definitely understand your point of view there. The instructions are bad for sure. It took me, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe. I'm laying on the couch with the Switch, being like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. I have no clue what's going on. But eventually, it clicked for me, and when it did, it really did feel kind of, I don't know, good. I felt that sort of rush of like, oh my god, I get it. I super understand this now, and I've been enjoying them the whole time now. I've got several of these nonogram games on my phone now.
Oh,
You've
wow.
hooked me into a whole new thing. This is a thing for me. I play it. My partner's playing it in bed. Like, we are nonogram players now because of Mario Super Picross.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess a little bit more into like some of the specifics of it, because I don't want to just make it one thing of like I like it or I didn't like it, because there are definitely some things to talk about here with this game. A little explanation for anybody who hasn't played the game, but when you complete a section or a segment of puzzles, you unlock a Wario segment of additional puzzles, which are ostensibly harder because they have no time limit. But also because they don't have any immediate feedback on whether a move is wrong. And I actually really enjoyed the Wario version. I enjoyed it way more because it didn't have that sort of immediate response mechanic of telling me that I am wrong. In the Mario version, clicking the wrong box immediately removes the amount of time from your timer. Which you click and you see -2, -4, -8, whatever. And that was really frustrating for me. Not necessarily because I was clicking the wrong things, but when you're clicking 10 or 15 boxes at a time, I found myself prone to clicking accidentally. And maybe that's because I was using the joystick instead of the D-pad simply because of my personal preference. And that certainly led me to a couple of game overs in some of the later puzzles that I wouldn't have earned in the Warrior version. And I enjoyed those Wario versions quite a bit. I thought they were very engaging puzzles. There's the free line bonus that you get that comes in the Mario version, which I didn't understand for the very longest time because it's just I don't read Japanese, and there's a Japanese box that pops up, and I don't know.
Yeah,
and
yes or no, and I don't know.
Yeah, and there's lines moving, and eventually I figured out that you can use that to
it's a hint.
Open up a hint of whatever. But I found that while it was a nice bonus for what are clearly intended to be kind of the tutorial levels, I found out that it didn't really make up for the negatives that I was perceiving versus the Wario levels, which didn't include that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right. That's fascinating to me because, well, I granted, I fully believe that the tutorial is not that great. I have the fortunate, like my partner has been into Picross for a long time. And so just from watching her play different Picross games, I knew the basic gist of it all when I started playing this. So I picked it up rather quickly. And I started playing some of the Wario stuff. I completed a lot of the Wario puzzles up to reaching level 4. Because I played this previously. But going back to Wario right now at level 4, there are so few hints of how it goes. Like, there's not really that one like key piece that I can use in order to open up everything else. And I'm just like left floundering, like, I think this might be right. And I eventually just found myself not really enjoying those. Meanwhile, with Mario, maybe because it is easier and I could just turn off my brain and be like, oh, okay, I have these automatic feedback. I'm up to like level 9 for all those. So
yeah, I can definitely see that. The Wario, man, some of these puzzles are insidiously difficult later on in the like they get really difficult, and you end up going, I'm gonna have to use like math here. I'm gonna have to figure stuff out. But I enjoy that because I'm sick and broken in that way.
I'm looking at Garrett's face. How are you feeling?
I'm here laughing because I didn't unlock a single Wario puzzle.
That's what I didn't indicate, because I'm like, I want you to play at least until you unlock the Wario stuff, and I forget how long that takes.
This is also like, not to derail this too much, but I don't always have time to play games every day. And so I sat down. I actually had I scheduled out some time yesterday to play it. And when I went to, I realized and I apologized to this club, but I realized that my NSO membership had expired, and I was like, you know what? If it was a different, I probably would have paid the $20 to keep playing. But I'm like, fuck this game. I ain't spending $20 to keep playing this game right now.
Oh no.
It's very fair.
Yeah,
Very
no,
fair.
that's. I mean,
Like,
the thing is, I don't blame you
wish
because, yeah,
it's like again, it's like I like puzzle games, you know. So like I think it's I want to say two things about it. One is obviously I didn't specifically click with the puzzle itself, but also I honestly feel like it's not a lot of effort went into the game itself. I mean, visually it's very basic. And like not I don't I went through on YouTube, I went through the entire soundtrack earlier today, and I was like, one, this doesn't sound like Mario music, and two, it's just not very good music in general. I think that there was
I agree.
one track,
Yeah.
I think it was like Wario Puzzle 2, so oh, this track isn't bad, but like it was just like it's very, the whole thing is just obviously like your total enjoyment is going to be based on how well you enjoyed the puzzle. I did not. I didn't get a lot of fun out of it. Moriarty did. He did. You seem to be somewhat in the middle, Derek. But again, it's just like like looking at it on like as a video game, like, and in terms of its like presentation, I think it's very bland. Like it honestly feels like not a lot of real effort went into making it visually appealing or having, you know, again, like the fact that there were no Mario tunes in here at all. I'm like, where the fuck? But I would
The
play
music
along
was
if
easily
you. It's like you put the Mushroom Kingdom theme in. Like, give me a good remix of like traditional Mario tracks. I'll keep playing just to listen to those. But like the music's bland. Like again, it's like it's aside from like it does like. If you were to take off the name Mario's Picross and say, you know, you have the Mario and the Wario things, but like nothing about the presentation, how it looks like Mario. You know, like it feels like his name, because it's with like you go to like on like the Puyo side, like the Dr. Botnick's Mean Bean Machine, all of that looks visually like interesting, looks like that franchise. Or like what was the Kirby? Was it Kirby's Dream Course? No, Kirby's Avalanche, I think was the Puyo. Yeah, those things look like a Kirby game. But like this one, it's just, oh yeah, we got a finished game. Just put Mario on the title screen and ship it out. Idiots will play it. Like it doesn't feel like a lot of thought was put into making this an actual Mario puzzle game. You know,
I 100% agree with that, and that was something I had to bite my tongue on in our preconceptions, because that was one of the biggest disappointments I had when I played this. Because I played a decent amount before this even came up on for this NSO pick. And that was something I noticed right away. There's no Mario aesthetics other than when you beat a set. Like you beat I think it's like 12 or 14 puzzles in a set. And you have Mario saying, congratulations, here's the next one, basically. Yeah. And that's the only Mario stuff you get. As you said, there's no music. I typically just mute it because whatever, I don't need it. And the chisel and hammer aspect of it, why is that a thing? Why is that matching Mario? And none of the puzzles have anything to do with Mario. Not a single one. I've looked it up to make sure like maybe the very last one will work. And there's a lot of puzzles in this game, because I even beyond the 10 that are in this base levels, there's extra challenge levels and extra challenge levels. That there's a lot of content here, but for some reason it's all basic stuff and not a single frickin' Mario thing other than for this set of levels it's Yoshi's in the background or Peach is in the background, but that's it.
I saw on YouTube, because again looking it up, I think unless someone was just exaggerating, I think I saw there's 3,000 different puzzle combinations in this game.
Maybe
because it was like 3,000 puzzles done, like 10 hours, and I was like, no, I'm alright. I'll just pretend.
I don't think there's 3,000 here, because usually
I don't feel like there was.
Again, like
300 or something.
Person may have just, I don't know, but yeah, but like it's again that's why. And I saw somebody in the live audience chat said this. I would not be surprised again if this was just gonna be Joe Schmo's Picross, and then someone was like, if we put Mario on it, just on name brand recognition, it'll sell more. We'll spend a day making a sprite of him to put in the good job, you did this puzzle screen, and then that's it. It's very, again, nothing about this screams Mario at all.
No, there's not any Mario in it. The music was easily the major, or I guess for me, the only major downside. It was very repetitive, and it was actually sort of annoying, which is not something that I come across in a Nintendo game super often. And I found that I muted the game and had a much better experience. I did enjoy the graphics, which I didn't realize I enjoyed them until I went and explored other Nonogram games. I found when I was playing these other games that I was feeling immediately nostalgic for the sort of friendly but competent design language that Nintendo does so effortlessly. And which apparently everyone else over the past 40 years has not managed to crib successfully. But I would have loved to have seen Mario in it. This is not a Mario game. Mario's on it. He's on the package. But like, boy, the artwork for this game, when you look at it, it is just so non-representative of everything inside of it. It's kind of surprising, actually.
Mm-hmm. It's so basic, and the funny thing is, when I was looking at done a pre-show, this is a sequel. There was a Mario Picross on Game Boy, and that did release in the States, and it did so terribly that's why this never came to the States. So it just didn't pick up at the time, and I couldn't tell you what Picross game it was that sold people on Picross. But it's certainly caught on now, and there's a whole Picross industry when it comes to especially the Switch, and just
that Game Boy game. I said last week that was the one that I've played before, and I'm pretty sure if you go and play that one actually has like Mario puzzles. Like that one seems to have been made from the start as this is a Mario Picross game. Mm-hmm. And again, maybe it's because that one didn't sell very well, and then. Again, I just, why would you? I need a drink. It's just so.
Moriarty, how far did you get? How many what set of levels did you make it through?
I completed. I want to say 3 of the full sets for the Mario ones, and then 3 of the Wario ones too.
Okay.
And by that point, I actually wanted to be able to play it on my phone, and that's when I abandoned it. But I'd played, whatever, 30 or 40 puzzles each.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair amount. What I can say is that as you get to the higher levels, there's a color change for each one, and basically what that indicates is that for this set of levels, the nonograms get bigger. So instead of 10 by 10, it's now 15 by 15, and then eventually 20 by 20, and that's where the sort of rise in difficulty comes in for each of them.
Sure, I mean,
that's too many for me.
No, that's great. That's awesome.
20 by 20 is too much for me, man. I'll set this one out. I'm fine.
No, it's interesting once you know the strategies. It's like, okay, so you look for that single number, hope that it's along the edge, count as far as it could possibly go from the left side. Do the same on the right side. Those that are in the middle, there's the ones you want. So if they're at the edge, you can count from those on the opposite going the opposite way, and sort of build out. In that way, you follow the same sort of strategy each time, but the way the numbers are laid out and how you have to build off from that is where the strategy comes in. And it's a brain teaser, and it's sometimes it's satisfying to solve these. And there is even a little bit of personality here, where like, here's this thing you made, here's a little animation for it. That's cute, but that's about as all you're gonna get. So yeah, I mean, it's a nice little puzzle game. But is there anything else that you wanted to say, Moriarty, about it? Because you said you had more thoughts than you thought you would.
I mean, I think the fact that I had so much to say about it there's so much to say. I think it's worthwhile, which I didn't expect to think. I thought that we were going to be playing this weird little puzzle game that I've always looked at and gone, I don't understand what this is.
Mm-hmm. Now you can get the Sega one and get your actual Genesis themed or Sega themed Picross puzzles. So there you go.
Yeah, it can be added as DLC for the next Like a Dragon.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. They do it. They would do it.
Sure,
now, Even though your NSO ran up, Gareth, I know you did say that you would do something else because, like, I don't know what I'm doing here, and you
I did.
definitely you threatened to watch the first episode of the show Numbers, and did you do that?
I did. I got a screen full of notes that I took while watching Numbers, and I'm like, I'm not sure what I disliked more because Numbers. Even though I just saw the pilot, it might be the worst television show I've ever seen in my life. But I do have a bunch of notes. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, one thing I noticed when he's not called Numbers, but I forgot what their names are, so I'm just gonna call him Numbers. When the titular Numbers is first revealed, there's a bunch of shots where there was a hair stuck on the camera, and so just for a good 30 seconds, you can just see a hair like in the bottom corner, and I'm like, fucking check the gauge, bro. Like, come on, what is this? It's terrible. Nobody acts like a human in this show. It's way too fast paced. It deals with super serious things. Like, it's so strange. I have never in a 40-minute thing of like episode of television, like upsetting word coming up. I have never heard the word rapist used so much.
Oh God!
And I'm like, it's the pilot. I get that you guys are doing serious shows here, but like, you can't be having a show where like someone will say that word 10 times in a minute, and then cut to somebody riding a bike with the goofiest fucking music you've ever heard in your life. Like, you can't have that kind of tonal dissonance.
Because this is just another twist on a procedural, right? Where it's just a cop procedural, except the guy, some math guy. It's a cop procedural. Involved.
Math. So there's cop guy and math guy, and they're brothers, and that's how they're connected. And math guy, there's a scene where he literally has fucking Arkham City detective vision when he sees something, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's insanely over edited, like a pretentious video essay. There's a moment when Numbers is going through so cop guy works for the FBI, and there's a moment where math guy is going over like FBI case files to try and make an equation so he can predict where, based on like this R word, who's based on all these different crime scenes, he uses a map to figure out where the guy lives. And I'm like, I'm not well versed in police stuff, and based on the context of this episode, I'm clearly not a smart man. But I'm pretty sure it's like a federal crime to just give like FBI case files to your brother to look through, who doesn't have FBI clearance to like do mathematics with it. Peter McNichol is one of my favorite actors. He's a walking exposition machine. Every scene he's in, he's just like, oh, come on now. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be helping me try and do my thing where I use the maths to solve the universe. And I'm like, what? Peter McNichol, you're better than this. Jesus Christ. There's a moment. I just have a note here that just says, I'm so fucking glad TV shows aren't made like this anymore. There's a moment where there was a legit DNA montage where the FBI collect DNA from 52 people who live in this area to like confirm if one of them is the criminal. And I know here says that the DNA montage with offensive techno music makes me okay that one day the sun would explode. The kind of with great power comes great responsibility quote that the show keeps saying is numbers don't lie. I'm like, fuck you, they lie all the time. What are you talking about? There's a moment where Numbers, his first equation's wrong, and he starts throwing a tantrum like he got dumped because his little math equation was wrong, and I was like, nerd. The whole show is. I only have a few more things. The whole show is basically math guys. The whole show? The basic premise is that like guys who are smart and good at maths are unsociable and dorks, and cops are normal regular guys. So it's like the Big Bang Theory with cops, which just makes it the worst show ever made. I apologize for what
unappealing the description right there. That's really unappealing.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
What I'm about to say is even worse. Again, I got another sensitive word coming up, but a guy being a pedophile gives him an alibi to not be the person they're looking for, and I want to just unalive myself for that being a plot point in a TV show. I am never watching this show ever again, and I laughed the hardest when it ended, and in big letters it said executive producers Ridley Scott and Tony Scott. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you two involved with this terrible show for? And that is my review of Numbers, the pilot episode to Numbers. Numbers don't lie. Go fuck yourself.
Well, I just looked it up, and you'll love this. That show lasted 6 seasons, 118 episodes.
Wow.
Yep.
It must
And
have been really good.
I bet you they say numbers don't lie in every single fucking episode of that show.
So, would you rather watch another episode of that or play more Picross?
Oh my god, it's like they both make me feel stupid, but for different reasons. But I guess I would probably go with watching Numbers because at least I can do something else. Like it's only because like when I'm playing a game, it's hard to like watch a TV show when you're playing a game. But I could put Numbers on and play something else when I'm technically watching it. You know, I could cheat the system,
Fair.
not actually watch it.
Fair. Well, there we go. Well, I mean. It's Picross. That's really what it comes down to. If you know Picross, you know how the numbers works. It's just you have the numbers going in a row, telling you where the square, how many squares there are in each row and line, and you triangulate them in order to or make them cross up so you figure out exactly where each is, and that's that. And that it's hard to really go beyond that. I think we've done the best we can, but yeah, we've said all we wanted to say about Mario Super Picross. But what's our final verdict? Would you recommend it as an N yeso or tell people to stay away with an N oh no? FTA Gareth, I think I know yours, but I'll ask for just formality's sake.
And go fuck yourself. That's my review on this. No, I wouldn't. Again, I guess what. For me personally, no. But if you're a fan of Picross puzzles, then of course you'll enjoy it. Like if you're a fan of, I'm a fan of puzzles games in general. Like I don't play them a lot, but I normally like them when I play them. But I didn't click with this one. So if you can click with Picross, then by all means go play it. You know, just mute it and just don't think of a Mario game because it's not really a Mario game. But yeah, I would say no. But if you're a smarter man than I or woman than I, then you may get more of it than I do. But don't watch Numbers. I don't recommend Numbers to watch that show.
Sounds good. What about you, Moriarty?
So NSO?
Yes.
Is that there you go. If you're a fan of like a Sudoku kind of game, I think if you feel Sudoku, that's great, and you want something like that, then I think this is a very good thing in that same vein. If you think of Sudoku as like this horrible, awful experience that you never want to experience again, this is that but different.
Yeah. And I'd agree. I would go with an N yeso as well. I absolutely do not expect to go into this getting Mario puzzles because I think that really would have increased the enjoyment factor for me. But as it is, just a way to play some simple Picross, figure out whether you like it or not if you're already paying for the NSO service. It's not a bad idea to check it out. And if you do enjoy it, there's a lot of Picross games out there that will have all kinds of different themes around it, so you can kind of find the one that you kind of gravitate towards. And I think it becomes a lot more enjoyable when you're solving a puzzle and it's not just here's a radio, here's a basketball hoop, here's whatever. It's all basic objects rather than you get something a little bit more tailored to yourself. But yeah, I still recommend checking it out. But what about all of you? Have you played Mario Super Picross before, or was this your very first time? And before we go, where can everyone find you guys at? Moriarty, let's start with you. Plug away.
I'm at youtube.com/reallycool because my YouTube channel is really cool.
Yeah, definitely give that
I love every time he says that in a video. Like at first time you ever said that, I thought you were just like joking, but no, his YouTube channel really is youtube.com/reallycool.
Yeah.
I hear it's really cool.
Yeah, so that's the kind of humor you can expect from me in my long form video essays.
Oh, perfect. What about you, FTA?
I'm at the real FTA on most social media platforms. I'm most active on Twitter and Twitch. But I want to say, Derek, I think in a way to get this to go back to regular YouTube, I think a new gimmick for the show is you've got to find an obscure TV show that's somewhat related to the game you're playing and make one of the guests watch it and talk about it. I think that's how we get the TV crowd to come back to the show.
Obscure television. There we go. That's what we need.
That's good.
Well, thank you both for joining me. And if all of you joining us enjoyed this episode, let us know in the comments, and please consider supporting us at patreon.com/GVGaming, which includes our live audience tier that will allow you to watch Game Club live as it's being recorded. But that is the end of the first Patreon request month, though it will definitely return in the future. For now, though, we will be returning to the Master NSO list. So thank you everyone who submitted, and remember, there's always another chance of your pick coming up. But now it's time for the Wheel of Games to choose next week's title, as I'm joined by my special guests, the Great Clement and Some Call Me Johnny. Are you both ready to see what game we're playing?
No.
Why does everybody say that?
Why
I was pretty lucky the last time I was here.
Honestly, you two made out pretty well the last time, so I don't know what that
you
says
say
about
that.
your luck, but we'll see.
Kirby Dreamland 2. All right, whatever.
Trust me, that's on the high end of what I played.
I don't mean to be too harsh. Kirby Dreamland 2 is perfectly nice.
Yeah. All right, well, let's bring up that wheel, see what game we're playing, as we got the full list after our Patreon request month. Everything's on the board this time around. So this week, we are going to be playing... Ooh... Panel de Pon for the Super Nintendo.
Yes! Yes!
We're back, boys!
Oh my god!
It's so back!
I was actually just thinking about, like, man, what if we got Pokemon Puzzle League? But nope, we got Panel de Pon. There we go.
Holy crap! Yeah. I think you can guess I love this game. So
No, that's obviously yes as in no. Well, there you have it. We'll see you next time as we cover Panel de Pon for the Super Nintendo. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye.